Hey there, everyone. I'm Samuel Johnson, and welcome back to the Phantom Perspectives. And today we're going to be discussing episode 47 of Danny Phantom Frightmare. This episode begins with Danny supposedly having a really good day. Like he's got an A+ in science. He seems to be the most popular kid in school. Everyone loves him, and somehow everyone knows he's Danny Phantom, which does confuse him for like a minute, but he gets over it quickly because the Fright Night appears and he takes care of him really easily. And then when he comes back inside, people are still cheering for him. All the girls seem to be swooning over him, but apparently, despite all this, his girlfriend is Sam, which Danny doesn't seem to have a problem with, and as both seem to be leaning in for a kiss, but just before their lips make contact, it's revealed it's all a dream as Danny wakes up as Danny Phantom in the ghost zone with a strange helmet on his head that breaks upon waking up. Of course, he's starting to wonder what the heck's going on, and he decides that whatever's happening, he needs to get answers. As such, he goes back to Fenton. Works through the ghost portal, but finds that the place seems to be pretty much deserted. No, everyone seems to just be missing. And when Danny goes to investigate everyone's bedrooms, he finds his parents and Jazz all asleep with those same helmets on their heads. And every time Danny tries to touch them, he gets shocked because they're all emitting electricity. Danny checks the security cameras, and upon looking through them, he sees these strange green ghosts that seem to have gone to Fenton Works and seem to put each of these all of his family to sleep before slipping these helmets on their heads. Sorry, my dog's right there. He's just kind of shaking, and I think he's gonna try and do something to get my attention. Something dickish, probably, I don't know. But anyway, so Danny wonders why they would attack Fenton Works specifically until he starts wondering if maybe the whole town was affected. As such, he goes out to investigate, and sure enough, Sam and Tucker are all asleep, and Vlad too, because he suspects that maybe Vlad is responsible. So he starts wondering what the heck's going on when suddenly these green ghosts attack him, and they're attacking him en masse. I forgot to mention they also attacked him earlier while he was looking around, but whatever. Danny does try to fight them off. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. Dog wanted me to let him out of my room. Anyway, as I was saying, Danny gets swarmed by these ghosts, and while Danny is able to put up a good fight, they manage to overwhelm him with sheer numbers, and we soon learn who their master is. It turns out their leader is this strange ghost that seems to have like a... I kind of want to say it kind of looks like a goat's head skull, a goat's skull for a head, except without the nostrils. He actually does have regular lips and eyes. His whole body seems to be made of inky night sky with stars and everything. And Danny suddenly remembers that this is the ghost that put him to sleep. Apparently, this ghost attacked Amity Park. Danny went to fight him, and the guy managed to sneak up on Danny and put him to sleep, put the helmet on him, and then just chucked him into the ghost zone to get him out of his hair. As such, while Danny was apparently having the flashback, they've already strapped him down to a table and are planning to shove him back into the ghost zone. And the ghost reveals that his name is Nocturne, Master of Dreams. Pretty much, what his big shtick is that he goes from town to town and pretty much puts the populace of the town to sleep. And when he does that, he usually puts the helmets on them, and pretty much the more people sleep, the stronger he becomes. As such, with our world having already having billions of people living in it, if every one of them was asleep, he pretty much would be all powerful. As such, he tries to do the same. He plans to just put Danny to sleep again and put him in the ghost zone, but Danny learned rather quickly earlier on, and just kind of consistently, that his ice powers are actually a rather efficient method against Nocturne and his minions that he calls sleepwalkers. Excuse me. And so Danny manages to free himself from the shackles with his ice powers and starts fighting through Nocturne and his hordes. Unfortunately, the hordes just keep piling up. He's able to keep going through them, but for every one he takes out, they just more appear. And even though Danny's able to take care of them with his ice powers, it's obvious that Nocturne is just got strength in numbers, and it's mostly because he's getting power from everyone sleeping. However, he does kind of short out enough for Danny to freeze him and break him apart. And so Danny realizes he needs to find out how he's he needs to find a way to shut off the supply of dream power to him, and finally put a stop to him. As such, but when Danny leaves, Nocturne reforms and says he's going to recharge, and he's going to go recharge while Danny goes and does that. And so in the meantime, Danny goes to try and find a way to wake up Tucker, Sam, and Jazz. And he starts wondering how the heck he's going to do that because every time he tries touching the helmets, he gets shocked. But then he remembers back when he was having his dream, what he woke. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. That's hopefully going to be the last time I get interrupted. Anyway, he remembers that when he had his dream, the one thing that woke him up was when he and Sam were about to kiss. He realizes that if he wants to wake up his friends and family, he needs to give them a shock, something that'll get them to just jump awake. As such, Danny uses his powers to pretty much overshadow them and enter their dreams. He enters Tucker. And the first stop is Tucker, Tucker's dream is just him living in a giant mansion with two twins. I think they're Star. I think her name is Star. Yeah, with two twin stars help right by him while Danny's his janitor. In fact, Danny showing up as Danny Phantom is enough to shock him awake. And cutely enough, Sam's dream is just exactly like Danny's dream. She's Danny's girlfriend. They're about to sit down. They're about to kiss, and so Danny went just to wake her up by overshadowing Flash inside her dream and making him Danny Phantom, which I think is just funny. And as for Jazz, you don't actually see her dream, but apparently she was a professor at Yale, and what woke her up was that she was married to Dash. So, as such, the group realizes they need to find where Nocturne is, and it turns out he set up base in a mattress factory, because why not? And so they all go inside and they find Nocturne asleep and hooked up to this machine that's feeding him the energy from all the dreams. And he's absorbed so much energy that he's now huge. And so Danny realizes that they decide that if they want to stop him, they not only need to cut off the flow to his dreams, but they need to be able to take him on when he wakes up. And they think the best way they can do that is if they can just shock him awake like they did with everyone else. And then when he wakes up, while his guard is down, they can just suck him into the Fenton thermos. As such, Danny's about to go into his dreams, though I don't know how he'd be able to overshadow a ghost, but whatever. Dark Danny did that to Vlad in his timeline, so I guess it's possible. And I guess you could say that with Danny's clones, they're able to shadow him, but Danny's half ghost, so I think they'd be able to still do that, but again, I'm getting sidetracked. But Sam says that she's going to go in with him, and again, I don't think it's possible for two people to overshadow someone, but then again, you had Danny and Tucker did it in season 1, but then again, there were two spirits entering the same body. Here, Danny's I don't know. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm guessing it's possible, but I still find it a little suspect that Danny can extend his powers to Sam to let her come in with him. But either way, yeah, he extends his powers to Sam so that they're able to enter. Excuse me. So they're able to enter Nocturne's dream, and well, it's pretty much just what you would expect. Nocturne pretty much in his dream, Nocturne has a giant castle with a whole army of sleepwalkers marching towards him. And unfortunately, because it's his dream, Danny and Sam really have no means of sneaking up on him, so he managed to catch him quickly. And at first, Danny seems to overpower him and suck him into the Fenton thermos, but they realize that they're still in the dream world and wondering what the heck is going on, and, well, Nocturne suddenly shows up as a giant, and yeah, they're in Nocturne's dream, so he pretty much controls it all. So no matter what they do, he's pretty much going to win. The Armidian plan is to just bail out, but unfortunately, since this is Nocturne's dream, he has complete dominion over. They're pretty much just stuck. And in the real world, Tucker and Jazz are having just as much trouble as sleepwalkers are swarming the mattress factory. So while they are trying to fend them off, unfortunately, Jazz gets captured. But before Tucker gets captured, he manages to override the connection. He manages to jam the connection between the machine and everyone else's helmets, which in turn cuts off the power flow to Nocturne and his sleepwalkers, which in turn causes them to vanish. As such, in the dream world, the sleepwalkers in Nocturne's dream disappear, and it allows Sam and Danny an advantage, and so they're able to take down Nocturne in the dream and cause him to wake up, causing them both to get jettisoned out. He does end up getting angry, and he does try to lunge and attack them, but just before he can lay a hand on them, Tucker managed to suck Nocturne into the Fenton thermos. And the episode ends with the group sitting on a pier and talking about how they would actually how they still did like their dreams, and Sam and Danny kind of saying that they don't, kind of denying their own dreams, yeah, it's kind of cute. So, on the whole, I thought this was an alright episode, just alright. I feel like the strengths of first let me talk about the downsides, actually. I think the downsides, honestly, are kind of the pacing and the fighting and the fight. Despite the fact that Nocturne's army is kind of it's infinite, so to speak, because they're able to be beaten so easily. They're also, again, the dog's right there. Sorry about that. They're also paper thin. Like they can reform, but all Denny needs to do to beat all of them is just shoot them with ice, and suddenly they're frozen and defeated. And so, the same thing even works with Nocturne. Yeah, he's able to reform, but honestly, despite how numerous in number, it doesn't feel like that the Sleepwalkers pose much of a threat beyond that. As even when they outnumber Danny, he's able to just easily plow right through them. And the pacing, admittedly, and I feel like the pacing is just a little weird. And I kind of admit, I feel like it would have been cooler if we did spend more time in the dreams, like seeing everyone's dreams, not just Tucker, Sam, and Jazz's. I think that would have been cool if we actually saw that. And it was nice seeing the brief snippets of Tucker and Sam's dreams, but again, I think it would have been cool if we saw more than just those dreams. I think it would have been cooler if we actually spent, and even then, it'd be cool if we spent more time in those dreams. Saw Danny kind of struggling a bit more to wake them up. I think that would have been cool. But for what we got, and on top of that, I don't know. I feel like it would. I feel like the threat would have been better if maybe all he had to do was just put these people to sleep and they were feeding him power. Like there was no machine. I think it would have been just cool. But with that being said, there are still things in this episode I like. For starters, Nocturne, the idea is still pretty cool. Putting people to sleep and then feeding off of their dreams it makes for some actually does make for some nice atmosphere, because pretty much as long as these people are asleep, the villain is just getting more and more powerful, and because everyone's asleep, it kind of makes everything feel like a ghost town. Like, because no one's around, everyone's sleeping, no one can do anything, and it's just Danny. It's just Danny against this ghost. And on top of that, I do actually like Nocturne's design, and I love his voice. It's just very creepy and disturbing. Nocturne's not a bad villain, and I do actually, and I admit I did kind of like the final fight with Nocturne inside his dream, because since it's in his dream, he controls it all. So that's kind of nice. And on top of that, I think my favorite part of this episode, admittedly, is the shipping between Danny and Sam. We get some more building on their relationship, as both of them have the exact same dream, and it's just adorable. Like we see like in Danny's dream, everything's going well, and then you see Sam walking up wearing a jersey that has Danny's name stitched on it, and they're both just making goo goo eyes and sweet talking each other. It's adorable. It's just dang adorable, and you can't help but love it. You can't help but like it, and it's like that way throughout the whole episode, because Danny now saw that dream, and so now both are embarrassed, and they don't want to talk about it with anyone else because they know they'll be teased. But they see each other, and the fact that they're actually having that attraction, and the fact that Sam wants to go with Danny and help him out, it's just it adds more fuel to the fire for Danny and Sam, and it's just so dang adorable that you can't help but not love it. It's just cute. I love it. I love that. I love it. So, but again, I think the biggest problem with this are just kind of. It's mostly just because I feel like the concept could have been expanded or tweaked a bit. Like for what we get, it's eh. Honestly, the whole concept I feel is not bad, but the way it's executed here is just kind of. Sorry, my dog jumped on the bed. Sorry. I feel like with how it's executed here, it's just eh. There's not a. It feels like it because again, part of having when you have a villain that's centered on dreams, you can get really creative there. Like there are other episodes that have done this. There are other shows that have done this similar idea and kind of made it work. Made it kind of work well. Like in Perfect Day in Ben 10, when Ben seemed to have the perfect day, and then halfway through it was revealed that it was all a lie. You kind of felt that whole tension. That definitely had that otherworldly feel to it. And then there's we've had Batman stories like Over the Edge and I think Perchance the Dream, where you've had extremes of Batman having the life he's always wanted compared to what he feel like could go wrong. Like you have both those extremes, and I think they're both and I think that you can easily get creative with that and just kind of pile on the otherworldly atmosphere. I feel like you could still have done more. Like maybe have Danny spend more time in the dream and then realize that things are just going wrong. And then maybe while still in the dream world, he reaches out to everyone and they band together against Nocturne inside the dream world. Managed to beat him there. Maybe bring them out to the real world, and then they engage him enough so that they're able to suck him into the Fenton Thermos. That I think that would have been cool. I actually think that would have been cooler. But instead we kind of got this. And to be fair, again, it's not executed horribly. It's just kind of because it really is just a stand. Because to its credit, it does create a sense of unease as you see everyone in Amity Park is asleep while these ghosts start roaming around. And again, it does kind of lead to the whole haunted atmosphere thing that does kind of make you feel otherworldly and just kind of alone and claustrophobic. It definitely adds to that. It makes it feel like something is wrong, something is up. So it does have that going for it. And again, Nocturne is not a bad villain. He looks creepy. He sounds creepy. When you actually see him in action, he is cool. I just feel like that his plan and the way it's executed could have been executed better, I suppose. I know I just used executed twice when I could just successfully, even though I don't know, I could use different words. But you know what I mean. I feel like it could have been better, is what I'm saying. For what we have here, the episode again isn't bad. It's just all right. It is just all right because you got some good jokes. The villain was creative. You got some nice tension, and I love the shipping. I love the character stuff between Danny and Sam. That was just all around adorable. I think my biggest problems again were, despite the Sleepwalkers being larger in number, they just feel like a paper-thin army that could easily be taken care of with a few freeze blasts. It could have gone. I feel like the episode could have gone further with the concept than what it did, and because it didn't, it kind of feels like the episode is lacking something a little. But again, so because of that, I feel like also on top of that, why does Nocturne need to be put in a machine to sleep? Like, if he's the master of dreams, couldn't he just, like, enter dreams anytime he wanted? I think that would be cool. Maybe, again, feeding back into have everyone fight him in the dream world and then knock him into the real world. I think that would have been better. It would have been cooler. And because he's in the dream world, he's weaker. Like, it's like, go the Freddy Krueger route. Like, in the dream world, he's all powerful, but then they manage to knock him into the real world and suddenly he can only do so much, and suddenly the heroes have the advantage. That would have been cool, I admit. I think that would have been better if that was the episode. But again, concept not bad. It just should have been executed better. I think it could have been executed way better than what we had here. But again, episode is not bad. It is not awful. And the positives, I think, and it does have enough positives. But at the end of the day, it's just all right. All right to meh. Just not bad. Just all right-ish. So, I guess that's really all I have to say. Thank you for watching. I'm Samuel Johnson, and I'll see you next week. Take care.